let's talk a little bit about liaisons and communication with the Board of Governors in general, and a little bit about legislative. And Jennifer Krell Davis, our amazing Director of Communications, will really talk in greater detail about some of the tools and resources that we have to help the section get its messaging and its work out to our members. So, as you all know, every section has a liaison from the Florida Bar Board of Governors. And I can tell you that appointment process in that regard is interesting because some people really want to be liaisons to certain sections. And when I did the appointment process, which Scott will be doing at the end of this year and into the beginning of next year for his year as president, it's a lot of time. And I listen to staff and their recommendations. I listen to leadership recommendations. But the liaison from the Board of Governors to each of your sections is supposed to be present and helpful. And if that's not the case, well, give them a nudge. And if that doesn't remedy it, then let me know. We have liaisons to our Florida Bar committees and sections for a reason. It's so there can be communication, and as Scott said, collaboration. That's how we're going to do our best work together. And our liaisons are supposed to be present at meetings, available to answer questions. And maybe sometimes they can't answer the question. They'll say, I have to go talk to Josh Doyle or Scott Westheimer or Gary Lesser and get back to you. And it's really, really important, that role. So important, in fact, that Saya Baker Barnes, who is your liaison, is also the chair of our program evaluation committee. And that is the committee that oversees everything that BAR is doing or is thinking about doing to make sure that we're doing it as well as possible, right? We all like best practices. And we're really going to try to drill down and make sure that the liaison's role and purpose is defined clearly and is actually happening. So we can have best practices on that. But for now and at this time, if your liaison is not present, reach out to them. And if that doesn't get them present and active, reach out to me. Some people, especially folks who are newer onto our board, maybe don't fully understand how present they're supposed to be. And they need to be. They need to be there available as a conduit of information from the sections to our board and to our bar staff. And they need to be there as the reverse order of communication, talking with you, especially as necessary, about things that are going on at the Board of Governors level that you might want to know about. So that's number one. And, please take this to task. Every now and then we have liaisons who don't perform as well as we'd like for any number of reasons. And if that's not happening, we want to remedy that because it's really, really important and it will help the sections do their work and will allow us to be as supportive and helpful as possible. The legislative process is going to be touched upon a little later today, but has chair of legislation for 3 years, something I saw a lot. And in those 3 years, we tried to improve the processes that we have. If you want as a section take a legislative action, you have to fill out our form. You have to identify other sections who may have a position in that process, and maybe a position that doesn't agree with your section's position. And that's okay. That's okay. But it's extremely important that when you're doing any legislative advocacy of any sort, and you have a section that is not in agreement, you have to clearly identify which section you are speaking for and that you're not speaking for the entire bar. The members of the legislature get confused by that sometimes, and it's our job to make clear who they're hearing from and why. And if you have interest in learning more about the legislative process, we have a great legislation chair named Braxton Gillum. You can reach out to him. You can reach out to me. The way our system is set up is you can't take legislative advocacy without reaching out to the big board for a number of reasons. We don't want to have conflicting positions. Maybe they can be resolved. We don't want to have a section taking a position that they're not legally allowed to. And you'll get a longer talk on that a little bit later today. The number one thing that we'd also like to make sure that we do is help you in the communication process. If you have a story, if you have something that you're working on that you want to bring to the attention of our membership, we have a lot of communication tools, the Florida Bar News, our social media, and more. It's our job to make sure that we work together as well as possible to support your efforts as much as possible. And what I'd like to do was kind of lateral the football over to Jennifer Crowell Davis and let her talk a little bit more about the resources that we have and how that will be very helpful to you. And there's Jennifer.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Jennifer Crowell Davis. I'm Director of Communications. I took over for Francine Walker last year. Many of you are familiar with her. But it's been a fun year, my first year, but I'm happy to speak with you guys today. The sections, y'all are doing so much good work. And the way that the bar communications kind of process starts is we always think about the bar news first. The bar news is an incredible resource for our members. And they, I think they've written over 900 stories this year. They went to a primarily digital model probably about 3 years ago. So they became so much more like a daily newspaper. So their site is updated every day. They have their own social media. So if you want to set up notifications on Twitter or Facebook for Florida Bar News, then you'll get notifications when new articles are posted. So that's a good way to kind of keep up with that. But what we encourage sections and our committees, and anytime you have something that you want to get the news out on, and please, more is better for them. They really do a great job of following up and interviewing the people involved in whatever initiative or good story is going on. But once they write the article, then we leverage that on social media. They have a monthly email that goes out to members. And Mark, the editor, was telling me that they went from 5,000 clicks on their regular email in 2019 to an average of 22,000 clicks on the articles that are in that monthly email. And they have a 45% open rate, which I know a lot of us are familiar with how hard it is to get people to open emails. But they are an incredible vehicle to get your news out. And then it creates content so that you can post that article on your social media. You can share it in your newsletter, and it just kind of grows from there. But that's one of our primary kind of starting points when we're trying to promote something or share good news. Then we have the journal. If your section is dealing with a legal issue that you really want to get into a very thorough discussion, you can work with the journal on either an article or a special edition if it rises to that level. So we would encourage you to reach out and talk to Mark Killian if you have big things coming up in the future that you need to get the word out on. But to go back, so our process is, try to start with bar news, get a full coverage of that event, that initiative, that, good news story. Then we share it on social. The Florida Bar social universe has grown exponentially over the years, and I'll talk about that more later this afternoon. But we have over 50,000 followers between Twitter and Facebook, and we really have an incredibly engaged audience there. So we want to share your good news. So if you post something good on your social media, make sure to tag us so that we see it and we share it. Another thing that we do as a support for sections, for a lot of the sections, I know that some of you have your own communications vendors, et cetera, but for those that we support, we have the Informs mail system, a marketing system. And we have worked with your program administrators to develop, these really nice layouts and templates so that you can get your news out to your section. If you've got an award nomination, if you have an event promotion, it's a great tool because we can see not only who's opened it, we can use that mailing format to follow up with people who didn't open it, to follow up with people who did open it. We can create all kinds of lists and analytics to give you feedback on what your section members are most interested in. So we're happy to provide more detail on that. And once again, I'll talk about some of the details of our communications vehicles more, in the afternoon. But we are here to support you guys and understand and appreciate how hard y'all are working for your members on your specific areas. So we want you to feel comfortable reaching out to us if you ever need anything. Your program administrators we work with very closely, incredible group of people who are very passionate about helping you all. And just wanted to do a shout out for them because they are doing amazing work in a incredible volume of work for everyone. But I'll have my cell phone number and email address, and I'll put that in the chat, and we'll talk more in the afternoon. But we have all of these different ways, including the website. We've, I think we had 7 million visitors to the website last year. So I would encourage you, if there's something that you really need to get out as an urgent matter, we can work with your program administrator to see if it's appropriate for our homepage, or see if we can fill out more detail in your subject area on the website under your section. So there's a lot of different ways that we can help you get your news out. But we would encourage you to, if you have good news about a member, please tell Mark. A great example is yesterday, Danny saw on our social media manager saw on social media that a court reporter had won a worldwide competition on court reporting. So Danny immediately shares that with Mark Killian. Mark Killian and Jim and his immediately set up an interview with a court reporter. So that's going to turn into an incredible story that we can share about someone in the legal system just going way above and beyond. But I know that those stories are out there between pro bono and legal aid and, just service of your members to the public. So we encourage you to get those stories to Mark so that we can share your good news. But the Bar Communications, we're here for you guys. So if you have any questions or need anything from us, you just let us know.
Yeah, to kind of add on to that, so I like to give compliments for people who just do amazing work and go above and beyond the call of duty. And I've learned that Jennifer Krell Davis doesn't like when I give public compliments, but she's an exceptional professional. She's just absolutely amazing and oversees a team that puts out so much communication to so many people in so many different ways and formats. So please take us up on the offer and follow up when you have things you want to get out, especially section-related news that would benefit members of the section and the members of the Florida Bar. But, Jennifer mentioned the court reporting thing. We got contacted by something else about efforts regarding Holocaust reparations that a lawyer was working on. A local lawyer became chair of his Chamber of Commerce because lawyers tend to be leaders, and usually so, just given, I think, our nature. And we have the means and the ability to get this messaging out. One final thing I'll leave with you is coming soon to a theater near you. We've been working on a social media and communications toolkit for our Board of Governors. And we'll be sending kind of a version of that, because there'll be some Board of Governors stuff that really won't concern you, to all of our section chairs. So you can simply point and click to the different social media platforms to amplify the social media content that is there. We have a pretty good reach in terms of social media. Very impressive, actually. But I wonder what would happen if a lot of our section leadership, if a lot of our Board of Governors leadership, just every day or so, liked, commented, and then shared something on their social media. That would be a force multiplier. And if we really want the word to get out about what we're doing, well, that would be an easy thing to do. So you'll probably have an email with some more information and some easy to use links by next month at the latest. And, it's our job to work with you and support your efforts. Stay in touch with us. Let us know how we can help on the communication side. And y'all are doing a lot of work. We just want to help you get the work done and get the word out. So thank you very much, Chair Abbott. And again, Jennifer Krell Davis, thank you for the great work that you do.